So we're here in Yeadon today in Leeds, and we're going to be checking out JD Wetherspoons breakfast. So let's go. Wetherspoons, the RyanAir of pub grub. You get the basics for a bargain price, but if you want the extras, be prepared to pay up. But does their large full English offer real value, or does it leave you craving first class treatment? Today we're at JD Wetherspoons, the Clothiers Arms, just a few minutes away from Leeds Bradford Airport. So if you're heading off on holiday, you might be thinking about grabbing a breakfast at the airport, but why pay over the odds for a lounge breakfast when you could stop here instead? Same quality, half the price. But is it actually any good? Let's find out. There are plenty of options available on the Wetherspoons breakfast menu. Today we've opted for the large breakfast, priced at a reasonable £6.59. There's a multitude of extras available for an additional cost, and a drink is going to cost you extra as well. We've opted for the refillable hot drink, priced at £1.71. Is that mine?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Let's cut the sauces round by the coffee machine or just there.
Excellent. Thank you. So if I hadn't said where I was, I'm still pretty sure many of you out there would have instantly guessed it just by looking at the trademarked patterned floral plate we've got here. But let's talk about what's actually on the plate. Right away I spot the beans spreading the territory, which, as you know, I'm not a fan of. One of the fried egg yolks has already busted before it even reached the table, and we've got a rasher of bacon trying to make a break for it off the plate. While it's not the most polished presentation, everything's at least neatly placed, just missing that touch of refinement. And our presentation score for this one today is 7 out of 10. Now let's see if the toast helps pull things back. And we have a pleasant surprise here. 2 slices, delivered warm, meaning the butter melts perfectly into the toast rather than just sitting there in clumps. It's got a great crunch without feeling dried out. Honestly, perfectly done. So no surprise here then, the toast is going to be scoring quite high with 9 out of 10. Of course, the real test of a full English is in the eggs, so let's check those out next. 2 fried eggs on a plate, and at first glance they look promising. The whites are soft, no crispy edges, which some people love, but I'm not one of them. On closer inspection, the whites are slightly undercooked in spots, particularly around the yolks. For some, that can be a big issue, but personally, I don't mind it. However, one yolk arrived already burst, which is a letdown. There's nothing worse than planning your toast dip, only to find your yolk has already made a run for it. Despite that, the yolk itself is spot on, warm, runny, and perfect for dipping. Solid effort, but room for improvement. Eggs, scoring 8 out of 10. Speaking of letdowns, let's talk about the beans. And here we go again. Another breakfast where the beans are completely lacking in flavour. Even the sauce is thin and watery, not the thick, rich kind you'd expect. But the biggest offence, they're lukewarm at best. If you're serving beans, they need to be hot, thick, full of flavour. These, I'm afraid, they just don't deliver. Beans, getting a low score here, 3 out of 10. Well, at least they didn't skimp on the mushrooms, right? Oh wait, mushroom? Or should I say, maybe half a mushroom? There's not even a full one on the plate. Nothing wrong with how this mushroom is cooked, but if you're going to just put one measly mushroom on a plate, at least make sure it's a decent sized one. I'm afraid this one scores as miserably as the beans. 3 out of 10. Thankfully though, the hash browns might just turn things around for this breakfast. We've got 3 hash browns on the plate, which is more than generous. Thankfully, they're cooked to perfection. Crispy golden exterior gives way to a light fluffy inside. This is exactly how hash browns should be done. I'd like to say you can't go wrong with hash browns, but if you've seen my previous reviews, you know some places have failed miserably. Not here though, full marks, 10 out of 10 for these. Let's move on to the sausages now. Are they as good as they look? Well, we've got 2 classic catering sausages here, nothing fancy, but actually surprisingly tasty. They're well cooked, moist, and have a good amount of seasoning. They're not going to win any gourmet awards, but for a budget breakfast, they do the job well. So Wetherspoons breakfast sausages scoring a solid 7 out of 10 today. Not bad. Moving swiftly on to the bacon, always a key player in a full English breakfast. We've got 2 rashers on the plate and they're pretty decent. They're not too fatty, not overly salty, and while they're a little on the dry side, that actually adds to the flavour in a way. It's a solid effort, but I think a touch less time on the grill would have made them even better. Bacon getting another solid score here, 7 out of 10. Let's talk about value for money now then. This is what really matters. Is this breakfast worth your hard-earned cash? For £6.59, you're getting a good sized full English with most of the essentials. If you were to order all these items separately off the extras menu, you'd be looking at a cost of over £11. So from a cost perspective, it's a solid deal. That said, you do feel the budget airline effect here. You get the basics for a low price, but if you want the extras, they come at cost. Black pudding, tomatoes, extra charge, not included unless you order them separately. Classic Wetherspoons, cheap up front, but the add-ons add up. Now looking at what's actually on the plate, the generous portion of hash browns and 2 sausages help boost the value. The toast is excellent, comes buttered at no extra charge, which, believe it or not, isn't always the case at some places. However, I can't ignore the lack of mushrooms. Just one single half-hearted mushroom doesn't cut it. And those beans, lukewarm and watery, Wetherspoons can do better. Despite those small gripes though, this is still one of the best value full English options out there. You'd be hard pressed to find another pub breakfast at this price point that offers this much food. Just be aware that if you want the full works, you need to pay the extra or look elsewhere. So scoring Wetherspoons on value for money today, we're giving them quite a generous 9 out of 10. So let's talk about what's not on our plate today and the missing items. So fried bread, not even available as an extra. Therefore, instant 1 point deduction. Tomato and black pudding also missing from our plate. But if I had been savvy enough to notice these were available frills before ordering, then they would be on my plate. So in the interest of fairness, I can't really dock points for these. I'll probably pick these up on a future visit to a JD Wetherspoon in another area. So after throwing all our scores into the number cruncher, JD Wetherspoons, the Clothiers Arms in Yeadon, scores 62 out of a possible 90 points. And as I'm sure you're well aware by now, we convert these points into a percentage and we end up with a final Breakfast Club score today of 68.9%. That puts it just inside the bottom half of our good rating bracket. So if you're after no frills, budget friendly fry up, this one ticks the boxes. And remember, this is the Clothiers Arms, just a few minutes from Leeds Bradford Airport. So if you're flying out soon, why not grab a full English here instead of overpaying for a mediocre airport breakfast? Would you stop off here before a flight? Or do you think there's better budget fry-ups out there? Let me know in the comments. And if you're loving our full English breakfast reviews, make sure to subscribe, join our club, hit the like button. Thanks for watching. See you next week for another full English breakfast review. So that was JD Wetherspoons here in Yeadon. We enjoyed your breakfast. Great friendly staff. Thanks for your hospitality. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.